host of macro cues and geopolitical tensions that we're keeping on our radars. Let's get started by looking at that, because the conflict in the Middle East has broadened, with Iran directly entering the war after raining missiles on Israel. Iran refuses to budge, with Iran's president, who is in Doha, warning Israel of far stronger responses if it continues military operations. He also sent out a message to the United States and European countries asking them to keep Israel in check. He also added that the Iron Dome defense system that Israel relies upon is more fragile than glass. Meanwhile, Israel has declared that it will retaliate against Iran's missile attack, but has not shared a timeline yet. PM Benjamin Netanyahu held consultation with the heads of the security establishment in Tel Aviv as well, and he also wished the people of Israel on the occasion of the Jewish New Year as well, affirming that it will be a year of total victory for Israel. But remember, Iran is not the only nation Israel is in war with. In fact, it is now fighting on 4 fronts against Hezbollah in Lebanon, Houthis in Yemen, and Hamas in Gaza as well. So that's the latest update coming in. When we take a look at that, let's also listen into Deputy Spokesperson of Israel's Ministry of External Affairs, Alex Gandler then.
Israel is working its way in order to defeat all the proxies of Iran, be it Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Kataib Hezbollah in Iraq, and the Houthis in Yemen. It does not have the capabilities to strike Israel without rockets. They don't possess a formidable air force. They do not possess any formidable ground forces. The way that Iran is acting is by creating and then subsidizing heavily proxies that act as its army abroad while they are taking over other countries. So our response would be to stop that modus operandi, to free both Israel and those countries from the strangleholds of Iran.
Meanwhile, we've got reactions from more leaders. In fact, world leaders also went into a huddle as the conflict widens. US President Joe Biden joined a call with the G7 leaders to discuss Iran's attack against Israel and to coordinate a response on this, including new sanctions. According to the White House statement, President Biden and the G7 univocally condemned Iran's attack against Israel. President Biden expressed the United States' full solidarity and support to Israel and its people and reaffirmed the United States' commitment to Israel's security. Let's listen in to what exactly Biden said.
The United States is fully supportive of Israel. At my direction, the United States military actively supported the defense of Israel, and we're still assessing the impact. But based on what we know now, the attack appears to have been defeated and ineffective. And this is testament to Israeli military capability and U.S. military. Also a testament to intensive planning between the United States and Israel to anticipate and defend against the brazen attack we expect.
And with looming threat of escalation, then global powerhouses are positioning themselves, resulting in mostly predictable alignments. World leaders called for restraint after Iran launched its biggest missile attack so far as well. Let's listen into what Keir Starmer, UK Prime Minister, then had to say as well.
But I utterly condemn this attempt by the Iranian regime to harm innocent Israelis, to escalate this incredibly dangerous situation and push the region ever closer to the brink. We stand with Israel and we recognise her right to self-defence in the face of this aggression. Iran must stop these attacks, together with its proxies like Hezbollah.
Now let's go across and also listen into what India's External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar had to say on this.
If one looks at the current situation, I think it would be right to start off with October 7th. We regard October 7th as a terrorist attack. We understand that Israel had a need to respond. But we also believe that any response by any country has to take into account international humanitarian law, that it must be careful about any damage or any implications for civilian populations. And that given what has happened in Gaza, it is important to have some kind of international humanitarian effort out there.
All right, then that's the word coming in from External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. Then let's move on. And so kickstart our coverage this morning with the Japanese markets. Then Nikkei rises over 2% as the yen weakens on the back of talks between the newly elected Japanese PM Shigeru Ishiba and Bank of Japan Governor Kazuo Uda as well. Ishiba said that the country is not in an environment for an additional rate hike, and the yen weakened after Ishiba's remarks as markets interpreted them as reducing the chance of a near-term interest rate hike. Now, the dollar was last up about 0.7% against the yen at 144.71 yen per dollar. Ishiba's newly appointed economy minister Roichi Akazawa also voiced hope that the BOJ would be cautious about raising rates further. So that's the latest update coming in from there.
And right now, the Nikkei looks strong. We are up 2.5%. Let's see how it fares out, whereas most of the Asian markets are closed for the holiday. But then now let's get you the move from, in fact, the Fed comments, which is talking about the US central bank's fight to return inflation to its 10% target may take longer than expected to complete the limit how far interest rates can be cut. This is a comment coming in from Richmond, who's the Fed president. In fact, Fed President Thomas Barkin, who said this comment. Additionally, he said that he supports the 0.5 percentage point rate cut the Fed approved last month and agreed the benchmark rate could fall perhaps by another 0.5 percentage point by the end of this year. Now, this takes account of how far inflation could have declined. He also expressed concerns over sticky inflation and the labor market.
Alright, then shifting focus to the US labor market, then where private sector hiring has picked up in September, indicating the labor market is holding its ground despite some signs of weakness. Companies added 143,000 jobs for the month, an acceleration from the upwardly revised 103,000 in August and better than the 128,000 consensus forecast from economists as well.
Alright, now let's get you some more news. Tesla slips after EV maker misses estimates on deliveries in the Q3. The Elon Musk-led company handed over 462,890 vehicles to customers in the last 3 months. Now, this is up 6.4% from the figure earlier a year ago. Now, deliveries came up shy of the roughly 463,900 units, which was expected by major of the analysts. Company, however, posted its first increase in quarterly vehicle sales this year, though the automaker let down inventories, expecting more of a bump from China, who's boosting electric car subsidies.
Alright, then keeping it with automakers that seem to be in the slow lane, US automaker Ford reports weak growth in domestic new vehicle sales in the third quarter as buyers continue to shy away from purchases on affordability concerns. Remember, major automakers in the United States, including Toyota and General Motors, reported weaker sales for the quarter, with some also citing affordability concerns and fewer selling days as a drag on performance as well.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.